Hey everyone, so with today's video recording, I want to get a chance to talk about a Digicam I've been using for the past 2 years now. The camera in question is going to be the Canon Powershot S90, and with this video, there are many purposes and objectives, but the two that I want to emphasize on is one, this is going to be a camera review as to why I would recommend this camera to another photographer. But two, I think the biggest point that I would want to emphasize is this idea that at the end of the day, when it comes to photography, it's less about the equipment and more so about your skills and how have you grown and developed as a photographer as well, right? I think for a lot of people, they're under the impression that they need the latest technology, the most expensive camera to pursue this hobby and passion. But I wholeheartedly disagree with that idea and sentiment. And what I truly value is the idea that you could create amazing work with many limitations. It doesn't matter what camera you're using. At the end of the day, what's more important is the skills that you develop as a result of all the different shoots you've done or the amount of times you've held a camera and taken a picture, right? And I think what I really love about Digicams, there are many reasons why I love Digicams. I really love the dated look that they create with these images and shots. That reminds me of like the 2010s. I really like how compact they are as well and convenient it is to carry one around. But again, I think what's really important to me is knowing that despite the limitations, despite the missing features that these cameras may have, I'm still able to take really great pictures as well. And I would hope that with this video, it would inspire people to pick up a Digicam themselves, and whether they're a learning, developing photographer or one that is greatly skilled and is a professional, just knowing that with Digicams, like they're not just toy cameras, right? Like they have a great purpose and they can generally create really good work as well. And with that, something I want to mention with this video is at the current moment, I'm kind of just talking about the introduction. Part 2 of this video, I am going to be talking about the settings and adjustments I make as I'm taking pictures with this camera. And then part 3, that's going to be me showing some prints that I have made with this camera as well, to kind of show you the potential with what the Powershot S90 has, as well as many other Digicams as well. Again, this is my favorite Digicam, but I have so many others as well. And with each one, I generally felt like I was able to create many great shots with them. It's just a matter of like learning the camera, the limitations, and embedding your own skill sets as you're using those equipment to create the outcome or the shot that you want to be able to make. And then with that, we'll be transitioning to the next part of this video now. Alright everyone, so this is going to be the camera that I am going to be talking about, and that's going to be the Canon Powershot S90. As you can tell, there's a good amount of blemishes on this camera, and that's just a result of my carelessness. I've been shooting with this for the past 2 years now, and I really appreciate how durable it is, because again, like I'll kind of just toss this into my bag. I've dropped it a handful of times as well, but despite that, it's still working perfectly fine, which is awesome. One of the things I want to point out initially would just be the camera settings that I use. I'm always shooting on P, which to my knowledge I believe is some form of automation, right? Like it automatically sets certain things, whether it's ISO or just not so much the exposure of the camera, but there's different things about it that just gets automatically done when I place it on P. And I think a big part of it is just because with this camera, I like use it for different reasons, whether it's casual or for a photo shoot. And I think just having the convenience of not having to think about those things and being able to immediately shoot pictures, it's really nice. Aside from that, other things I'm able to do with this camera is I'm able to change the exposure with this wheel dial right here. So as you can see, overexposing the shot, underexposing it. But despite having that feature, I don't really play around with it much. I kind of just keep it in the center here. But a particular feature that I definitely want to emphasize that I think is really important when it comes to shooting with Digicams, for myself specifically as well, is changing the white balance. By changing the white balance of the camera, you are able to have access to many different forms of like many different forms of color grading, right? I think for me too, like colors and how or what kind of colors a photograph conveys is kind of like really important. It establishes the vibes, the feelings, the objectives of what the photographer is trying to convey. So for that reason, something I highly encourage if you're shooting with Digicam specifically is to play around with white balances and see what colors would you want to associate with the setting or the environment or whatever the case may be with the shots you're taking. Aside from that, other nice things about this camera, as you can tell, you can change the ISOs. There is also a flash as well. I try my best not to shoot the flash or use the flash much often at all, just because it creates images that have a very different aesthetic from what I like to go for. So I think at that point it's just kind of like a preference for myself. I normally just use it whenever it's like very low lighting, but beyond that, I usually just keep it off. And I'll try to force the camera to just be able to take pictures whenever lighting isn't efficient enough. But aside from that, that's essentially how I use the camera, like very simple. There's so many different other features as well that I haven't really tapped into, but that's not something that I prioritize because I think at the end of the day, I'm able to take really good pictures with what I'm able to do with it. And with that, last thing I just want to mention, I also have this charm that's tied up to the camera. This is from an anime called Black Rock Shooter. This character is BRS, and it's something that I really like having on Digicam, so having little trinkets on it kind of personalizes the camera, right? I feel like doing things like this is something that makes photography more fun, being able to kind of just personalize different little things like this. And with that, we'll be moving on to me showcasing the different prints that I have made from the camera pictures I've taken with this. Alright, so in this part of the video, I am going to be showcasing 10 different photos that I have taken with this camera that I really like. With the first shot, this is going to be a picture I took of my friend during golden hour. As you can tell, because of the very ethereal looking lighting, this is at a local state park where sometimes throughout the year there will be like salt formation that occurs, and that's what my friend is standing on at the moment. It kind of looks like it could be snow or even sand, but it's actually salt. And the other great thing about this particular place as well is at certain times in the year the water gets really red as well, very reminiscent to the final episode of Neon Genesis Evangelion, right, when Asuka and Shinji were like the only two humans in the world, and they were kind of just like lying beside one another beside a pool of red water. So that's gonna be the first shot. From there, the next shot is going to be a photo of me just grabbing some snow in my hand, going back to the idea of being mindful of white balance. Had I not taken this picture with white balance on, it wouldn't have like this blue color grading to it. And I think that element of color definitely adds to the picture. And that is something that I meant when I was talking about experimenting with white balances and trying to associate colors to whatever shot or picture you're going to be taking and what kind of feeling or emotion you're trying to convey. From there, this is a picture at the studio. This is a day when my friends and I were dyeing some clothes black, right? So going back to the idea of this camera for me isn't not blah. Let me backtrack. So this camera for me isn't necessarily only for photo shoots, but it's also just very casual as well, serving the purpose of just taking pictures for the idea of preserving memories and the things that my friends and I are doing. And once more, I was able to get these colors as a result of just making adjustments to the white balance as well. As for the fourth picture, my friend had asked me to be a part of an art show. So at the time we were making preparations, and for them, they were creating this particular piece, which has a lot of like elements of like sewing and like plushie creation as well. So very cool shot, kind of just like a shot of, how would I phrase it? Like there's a word for it in photography, right? It's like not staged. It's not impromptu. There's a word for it. I can't recall at the current moment, right? But that's kind of like the premise of this, where like you're taking pictures of things that are happening in the moment. From there, another picture with the same premise as well. The word is candid. That's the word, right? Whereas like the picture isn't necessarily staged, it's just whatever's being shot and photographed in that moment. And that's what some of these pictures are, with the previous one as well as this one. For this one, my friend is currently working on a piece, a painting that they've been working on for quite some time now in the studio. Once more, on that topic of playing with white balance as well, being able to get these colors to come out. Ended up dropping a lot of pictures, but I'll just pick it up later. As for the next picture, kind of like some landscape photography on a very overcast day. Trying to think, this had to be somewhere in San Francisco. I can't recall which beach it is. It honestly might be Ocean Beach, but it was, I feel like whenever I go to the beaches in SF, it's always really cold and overcast. Never something I would ever associate as being very sunny and bright. I think this picture kind of captures that mood and the kind of environment that you normally would experience going to the ocean in the city. From there, this particular picture was photographed most recently. This was from a cabin trip that I had gone with some friends in Mariposa, California, and we had gone on a small hiking trail. Well, I wouldn't say small, but it was a short hike, but we were kind of just exploring and walking down to the river and exploring the stream, among other things as well. And this is a picture I took of my friend. Once more, candid as well, right? It wasn't something that was staged or anything like that. I kind of just took a quick picture. And that's a nice thing about shooting on an automatic setting, right? Because I'm not wasting time having to make quick adjustments. I could just take a quick picture real quick, and from there, it's just a matter of whether or not things align. Next picture is a tote bag with a Miffy plushie as well. I don't think there's much to say about this picture. I think it just serves the purpose of just being something very aesthetic, right? And then the picture after that was a cabin trip that I had gone with my friends, and as we were driving up to the cabin, we were kind of making pit stops as well. And with that, it was snowing, and I kind of just asked my friend, like, hey, can you please stand over there so I could take a picture of you real quick? And then with the last picture, as you can probably tell, like, I really enjoy collecting toys as well as photographing my toys as well. And this is kind of like the last shot that I want to showcase. Not for any particular reason, but something I do want to mention is I really appreciate the character design of this particular figure by Renji Murata. Or it's not from Renji Murata, but I think he had curated like an anthology where he asks a lot of different manga artists to be a part of, and I think one of those artists created like a short, like 2-chapter manga, and one of the character that they had created was this one in particular. So the premise or the idea of this figure is connected to Renji Murata, but he wasn't the one who created his character or the figure. But again, that's not the point. I think what I want to talk about more specifically is just the detail on this figure as well, right? But that's not even what I'm here to even talk about. I'm talking about the camera as well as like what I was able to create, taking a picture. From what I can recall, like I had put the figure inside I think they're called like light boxes or something. Some kind of box where people normally would take like product photography with. And from there, this is kind of like the outcome of shooting with that. And with that, this is the last picture I want to talk about, and this is kind of like the ending of the video as well. I would hope that by watching the ending and getting to the ending of this video, it would inspire you to consider purchasing a Digicam and kind of like experiment with the limitations that the camera has and assess what you're able to create, whether it's for purpose of memories or even maybe even like creating something that could be associated with the idea of like fine arts, or even like something that's more than just what could be regarded as being casual, right? And with that, thank you everyone.